right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Happy Wednesday. It's 1 p.m. on the East Coast. Alex, what time is it on the West Coast over there?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. All right. Did you have breakfast yet or no?
I usually skip breakfast.
Ah, the intermittent
Nervous.
fast. Well, thanks everyone for jumping on. It looks like we have plenty coming in. If you're coming in, do me a favor, open up that chat. Tell us where you're coming in from. We'd love to see who's coming on. Where we always try to pin down who is the farthest away. We typically do Raleigh. So right now, Alex, you're winning. Where in the West Coast are you?
I'm in Camarillo, so just north of Los Angeles.
Okay, got it, got it. And if I wonder, do we have chat?
No,
You can
I
put it
was
in the
just about to say
Q&A.
first curveball. I did disable chat, but looks like we've got Montreal and Pinehurst coming in the Q&A.
Yeah, throw her in the Q&A. Come on, bring it in. Um, yeah, it's great to see. Okay, Montreal, we got some coming in. So maybe Adam and Patrick keep track of who's coming in from the farthest here, and maybe we can throw them some swag. That'd be great. But welcome everybody as we get going and folks are coming in. My name's Matt Reagan. I'm one of the co-founders of Operation 36. And I'm going to kind of MC this and talk about this topic, the Forever Coach, which I think is just a great title, and really talk about how we can transform our thinking and where we are in the industry from single one-off lessons to a long-term relationship with a player. And I have some wonderful guests on with me today that I'm going to try to tease out some great information that you can apply to your programming, maybe your mindset and how you're setting up a program. And hopefully you walk away today with what I would think, when we look at this, if you were building a program from scratch, and that's our guest speaker who's on today, how would he do it from scratch at a new facility? And he actually did it. And I want to introduce you to him. And we'll start with Andrew Kiger. Thank you for being on, Andrew. Andrew Kiger is the director of instruction at 12 Oaks. Is that right, Drew?
That's right.
And
Yes, sir.
actually, I am a customer of Andrew. My daughter and my son are in his program just outside of our neighborhood here. So I'm on the other side of the equation. But Drew has a wonderful story that we're gonna ask him to share later about starting an academy from scratch right when COVID hit. So, Drew, what I wanted to ask you on the front end, just as we kind of tee this up, what is a Forever Coach to you?
Well, Matt, thanks for having me today. Super excited to be here. I can't wait to share the story. As far as the Forever Coach goes, getting them from an early age, around 4 or 5, and guiding them on their life's journey through golf. If they've never taken a golf lesson before, hopefully being their first golf lesson and being their coach forever after that, doing a good enough job that they continue to come back year after year after year.
I love it. I think it's a great setup for what we're going to cover today. And Drew, thanks for being on, and looking forward to having you share your story here in just a few minutes. And I'll turn it over to my counterpart, who I've worked on with Operation 36 for, gosh, Ryan, it's been 15 years now. So
Yeah.
The time has flown, but other co-founder of Op 36, Ryan Daly. Ryan, thanks for joining, and I'm curious to get your perspective of what a Forever Coach is.
Sure. I think it's just shifting our mindset as coaches, because we're trained from the PGA of America. We're trained on how to do a 1 hour lesson. We're never trained on how to help somebody longer than just a 1 hour lesson. If you have somebody for a year, I remember you and I, when we started to get folks for 3 and 4 years, we didn't know what to do. And they weren't playing golf. So how do we get them to play golf? And now it's pretty cool to see some of these players that have been with us for 8, 10, 12, 14 years to really see what happens. So it's just kind of changing your mindset to not just surviving the 1 hour lesson, but how can I prepare this person for success long term?
I love that. And you're going to share a little bit more on Op 36 for those that aren't familiar in just a few minutes. So I appreciate you going through that. just so we have context to kind of Drew's programming and how he set it up at his club. But thanks, Ryan, for being on.
Yeah, good to be here.
And last but not least, the VP of Operations of CoachNow, I would call you the CoachNow OG, had been with Spencer for pretty much the whole journey. And we've always been massive fans of CoachNow at Op36. Ryan, who's on, has been a power user of CoachNow more than I have. So that's why I'm interested to hear more from Ryan too on how he's used them on both. But Alex Berlin, thank you for being on. And I wanted to kind of tee you up and hear what you think, working in the coaching space, seeing CoachNow get developed. What do you think a forever coach is?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. And likewise, we were always big believers in Op36, so it's just fun to be together. I think we're fortunate that things worked out the way they did. And yeah, like you said, I've probably talked to as many coaches as many people have, right, across the globe in a lot of different sports. And I think I would echo what Ryan says or said. We really, as coaches, specifically golf coaches, need to change our mindset, right? And so certainly for myself, when I first came into the business, it was like, oh, I'll just give as many 1-hour lessons as I can. And I never thought about development. I never thought about the relationship. And I never really, to be honest, thought about it as a business. And in order to structure a business, we got to retain people. And we got to set up some sort of program and approach that leads to that coaching and long-term relationship. So,
oh, I love it. That is really well said from the three of you. And I think everyone on today, what we're going to cover is just real quick. We'll give like a brief overview of Op36 and CoachNow. And we want to do that just so you have context, because Drew uses both of these tools to really build out that long-term framework and to keep customers. So you have that framework and you understand the products if you're not familiar with them. Then we're going to dive in with Kiger, and we're going to ask him as many questions as we can. We have that Q&A that's open on how he structured his program. He's got an awesome story of literally starting from scratch, but not just at a new club during COVID when everything shut down, right? So it's going to be pretty inspiring to hear what he has to say. And then what we're, hopefully we have a couple good slides, I think, that starts to like break down that mindset of what a forever coach is and how we think about long-term programming. And I know it was a mindset shift for Ryan and I, and that's exactly how I look at it. Is like, if we're going to take the time to market and get a customer, how do we make sure they have everything in place that they need to be successful for wherever they want to go in golf? And it's really up to the coach or the assistant pro who's in charge of the programming to set up that structure and be able to communicate it to their club. And if they do it in the right way, you have consistent, stable income and you have players that actually get better and progress, and you can measure it. So we'll finish up with Q&A. Patrick is going to be on our Q&A and checking those out. If there's anything, Patrick, that pops in that you think's relevant, feel free to interrupt us. But anything else before we get started? Any other thoughts, everybody? And we'll dive in. All good? Awesome. All right. Well, we'll kick it off with a quick video on Op36 and Ryan to give us just a brief overview of how the program works if you're not familiar with it.
Op36 is by far the best way to get beginners into the game of golf.
It's been an absolute home run for our staff, for our members.
It helps teach golf from the inside out.
So you've got to build off of one step to the other step to the other step.
Operation 36 by Golf Genius is the #1 beginner golf program relied on by coaches worldwide.
Op36 is a blueprint for success.
You start from 25 yards, you have to shoot 36 or better, which is par on most golf courses. For 25 yards, you go to 50, then to 100, then to 150, then to 200, and then tee boxes.
There's success right away. If you shoot 36 from 25 yards away, you get moved up to the next level, and that creates motivation.
Making the game fun is definitely #1.
Operation 36 provides coaches the curriculum and technology to guide beginners to become skilled golfers through gamification, group classes, and on-course events.
Our first Op36 we did was with 20 women.
You got to read who your students are, what is fun to them.
One of the best features they loved was the feed on the app.
The thing that I like the most is how they gamify the classes based on the age level.
Bring all those women together. They're all friends now. It was a relationship builder.
The 7-year-olds are playing a game that deals with, dragons, and they have to hit a ball over a moat.
Op 36 is a lot of fun. I keep getting better at golf. My handicap went down about 10 since last year.
Creates competition where they can actually see results.
Today, over 2,500 coaches at facilities around North America and in 21 other countries are using Operation 36 to teach new golfers how to play.
The combination between the Op 36 technology and the curriculum helps all coaches.
All right, great. Well, I hope that gave kind of an overview of how Op 36 works. But Ryan, could you share just a bit more of the journey over the last 15 years and how it's structured today and how you see coaches using it?
Sure, absolutely. I think the biggest challenge we were trying to figure out, Matt and I, at the beginning was how to get folks on the golf course. And then just with that basic problem to solve, it kind of morphed into how do you actually make them better once they're on the golf course? Turns out they need to be playing quite a bit. They need to be seeing you quite a bit. And then you need to figure out a way to stay connected with them along the way. So this is a great graphic that shows that Op 36 in its most basic form is a weekly class on the far left where they're with a coach in a small group, 6-to-1 ratio is what we recommend. You're learning in that class, either through our curriculum with Op 36, or if you're a coach that has your own curriculum, you can use it. And then they play golf, 9-hole events at your facility, similar to you running like a men's league or a women's league during the week. Some people run them on Saturday evenings, Sunday evenings, might do that once or twice a month. And then while they're playing, and if they happen to beat 36 or even have a personal best, go from 45 to 44 to 43, you can see on the far right, the technology does a great job of celebrating progress along the way, which, as we have found over the years, video games do an unbelievable job of doing this, celebrating progress. And in golf, we need to do the same thing. We need to celebrate progress along the way to keep them motivated and excited. And once they get done with Op 36, what's next? I think that's a pretty cool title to this this webinar we're doing right now, which is combining Op 36 and CoachNow to keep them going along the way in their journey.
Oh, awesome, Ryan. And Drew, you use Op 36 as your beginner program. I'm a customer. My daughter and son are in it. And, I am used to dropping Piper off for an hour every Thursday in her class. And I did just have a really fun Sunday. She passed level 3 after working on it for a year and shot 36 on the number, which was awesome. So I saw all the notifications and showed her that, and she's pretty pumped to be able to play from 150 yards. So give us a little context of like how many classes are you running a week right now, and you do it for adults and kids, and then how do you build in like what I know because I'm a customer, but I'm curious to get your thoughts and just how you see it fitting into your program mix. And we'll go deeper in a little bit, but maybe just a high level.
So it's every day of the week. I am teaching an Op 36 class. There's several beginner ladies classes that I do on Wednesday nights, Tuesdays during the day, but every day from 4:30 to 6:30 is junior day at our facility, which is amazing. We've got beginners and intermediates that mix into the same class time. They go their separate ways as they meet for different coaches. And it's fantastic. We have a nice structure that they can kind of feed in from beginner to intermediate to advanced in our class. We have one elite program on Fridays that if they get to 200 yards, that's the program that they go to. So there's a nice funnel through our junior system. And there's a nice funnel right now in our adults to get them into our ladies clinics, and then later our adult programming that they can go into with CoachNow, where I give private lessons and guide them on their journey after that.
That's wonderful. And it's neat to see how like you're using the levels in Op 36 to be a bridge. And we got a couple slides on that here in just a little bit that kind of tee this up, and we want you to go deeper. So that's super helpful. Hopefully that gives everyone kind of a basic concept understanding of how a participant would engage in Op 36. And it's a program that's meant to go all season long and continue to just challenge someone just above their ability. Going into that elite side, or more personable one-on-one coaching. the wonderful tool that we have, and that again is a part of our, now we're under the same parent company with CoachNow and Alex. Alex, do you mind if I kick it over to you? Maybe show a quick video on CoachNow and have you give a little overview of how the tool works?
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw, I was looking at the participants. I think I see a lot of existing CoachNow users, but you're probably not on CoachNow Academy yet. So when we look at this video, it's a little bit of a highlight of CoachNow Academy, kind of a promo video. You'll see what would be coming. If you're existing on CoachNow and you're enjoying it, you could obviously stay there or explore Academy. So if you want to jump into that video, Matt.
Sure.
So that gives an overview. If you're somebody that wants to do the scheduling and wants to work at a facility level, you could do that with CoachNow Academy. If you're somebody that's looking for communication, collaboration, that one-on-one relationship, video, and image analysis, you want unlimited athletes. And coming soon, we'll do some billing. You saw in that video, we're already doing billing in Academy. You could look at CoachNow Pro. It's used by coaches across the globe, and I think it meets all your needs, even from an automation standpoint, if that's something you want to do. And then you could step into Academy. So for the people already using it, I would say, reach out. Let's give you an opportunity to look at Academy. And if you're not in that, we'll give you some opportunities to find out more if that kind of resonated with you.
And for those that have never heard of CoachNow before, I mean, you've been around forever and really tackled the hard collaboration, of emails, text, everything all over the place, and brought that into one central place, and then combine that with video analysis and are continuing to build out and make that better. So it's really quick communication. But it looks like now, so there's a transition to go. You've heard over and over that coaches need the additional tools to manage their entire business. And it looks like that's where CoachNow Academy is heading.
Yeah, I mean, all-in-one, one-stop shop, right? Where I think that we've had for a long time this collaboration, this sort of, you can call it feed or development feed within Spaces and CoachNow, where a person can see their development over time, but then they have to go somewhere else to book a session, or they have to go somewhere else to do the other piece of that relationship with the coach. And so the goal would be to bring that all in there. If you're using other technology, you can get that in. So SwingCat and things like that can come into CoachNow. And I think, we talked about it in the beginning. We used to show this slide of like everything everywhere and disparate communication, and then we would bring it all together. And in many ways we did that. And then technology has advanced and things have developed. And now we're kind of in that next phase of, again, trying to collect everything and get back to that one-stop scenario, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, it's really neat. And I think Ryan and myself and internal at Golf Genius here, and kind of the roadmap and the plan that you have and the visions for it is pretty exciting. And we're going to take a look at Drew's instance in just a little bit after we get through and actually check out some of how you're using it, if that's okay with you, Drew.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Are you okay with us showing some lessons of you getting in there, grinding out? Or
it's going to be entertaining. I have all sorts of students. There's going to be all sorts of instances of improvement.
And I will say, knowing Drew for a while, Drew is the one that will, like, there's just some people that can't help but want to help somebody. And Drew is that guy who will walk the range and do it. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of those. I think, this slide here, Ryan, I was hoping you could speak to it a little bit. But I think this gives a really good, I remember back in 2010 when we were starting, and the whole idea was to build a long-term junior golf academy. And Greg Rose and Dave Phillips got us all excited about long-term athlete development. And then we got 3 kids to sign up. and start coming and being billed monthly to get better. And we had to learn all these pieces, like you said, putting in the playing format to actually get them playing and gamify it. But this kind of was, I remember a slide that we had back in the day where it was like, how do you take them from 0 to 1 and then 1 to elite athlete, and having all the pieces in place. So I'm curious to get your thoughts now that you kind of see like Op36 and CoachNow, they come together. I think this gives a good framework for people to, in their minds, to think about, how am I setting up my programs to be able to do this for my players? And you got a pretty cool picture here, I see.
Yeah, and I would kind of look at other sports as the ones that have mastered this before us. Like karate does a wonderful job when somebody walks in the door of showing you where you start and where you're trying to get to. And I think at some point we're always trying to get to there. So this graphic might be good for folks to look at from beginner to high performance. If you go down from Op36 to CoachNow, if you go down again, level 1 on the far left would be 25 yards away. We found that's a great place to start with beginner golfers. They don't have to have a perfect grip. They don't have to stand perfect. You just got to get them hooked on the game, playing the game. Playing the game is really fun. There's a lot of gamification principles already in the game of golf that people never experience if they're just on the driving range. So level 1, 25 yards away, working them all the way through the different levels in Op36. But then at some point they need a little bit more. And Drew's probably going to talk about this as well. But like, you do need to get into the details of instruction and coaching when somebody gets far enough back. Like, you can't just keep doing generic, let's call it generic lessons with a group of 6 to 12 people to get somebody to shoot 36 or better from the back tees. Like, and in a tournament, like, they need specific pieces and components to work on. They need feedback. They might need a fitness coach. They might need an equipment coach. They might need a mental coach. And that's where Op36 doesn't provide that. They need to graduate into CoachNow, where there's a space and you can add all those different coaches to help you. And you act like Randy Smith does for Scotty Scheffler. And if Randy can't figure out his putting, then he finds somebody else to figure out his putting for him to help, and they collaborate together. So to go from beginner to high performance, and then at the bottom, I think is a good graphic or a good picture. We had a student on the bottom left, Michael Snyder, who started with us at 6 years old. You can see him in the white cap. He was 6. He was shorter than me. And he graduated from Op36 to then private lessons. We use CoachNow kind of on the back end of the Op36. And now that's the only thing we use. He's now moving on to playing college. He sends me videos. I send him responses. The fitness guy's in there, the equipment guy's in there, the mental guy's in there. And it's fantastic for us to collaborate. And I think this is a good graphic for folks to see how you could potentially set it up to have the conversation with the parent when they walk in the door and say, this is my vision. This is what I'm running. We'd love to have you be a part of it. I think parents are blown away when they see something like this.
I completely agree. I think if I were to summarize and what I've learned in 15 years is that so much of having a player for the long term is you have to show that you have a plan, and you got to show the development of this. And if you don't from day one and say, hey, you start here, then you go here once you reach this clear milestone. And then once, if you want to be competitive, you go here. It's always the academies that take the time and lay that out that really grow to like massive academies where they have good recurring students, stable revenue, and are able to. What's exciting about Drew is, Drew started with just himself, working his way up. And then, Drew, how many do you have employed now that are working with you? And you're at 2 locations, right?
I have 2 lead instructors underneath me, and I have 3 interns now that are working for me. So we have 5 underneath, and it's going really well.
No, that's fantastic. And I think this is a great segue. Drew, we'd love to, have you tee up. I want to show that slide next that it kind of gives an overview of all the programming you run and kind of your framework. But can you give us the story of you coming to 12 Oaks and during COVID? Can you tee that up for us? That'd be great.
Well, the beginning of the story is great. It's an incredible neighborhood. I was super excited to get started. We did this incredible parent basic we had this event together to meet us and greet us and get started. We had 40 families attend that, and it was incredible. They all signed up. They were all really excited to go. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, around the players, everything shuts down. They can't come to the club. So we're out of business for about a month and a half. But we kept their contacts. Everybody kept in touch. And before you know it, about March or May, everybody comes back and it comes roaring together a lot better than it ever was. And it went from 40 in the first couple of months there. Before you know it, the next year we were up close to about 100 juniors after that. And it's been steady at about 100 to 110 juniors. And that's weekly enrollments with Op36. So it's been an incredible journey with Op36. Our numbers are just outstanding. And then just this past 6 months, I added another facility over at McGregor Downs, and it started. We had around 40, and it's already over to about 65 players. And that's your old stomping grounds there, Matt. And it's incredible trying to keep track of 2 different places. I know Ryan's incredible at it, but it's a whole new journey for me to manage both facilities. And I couldn't do it without Op36, that structure that my employees have, and the ability to have them trained and understand the system is so much easier than having to train every single new person. If I can just hire another Op36 coach that's already done it in the past, it's amazing how they can transfer from one facility to another already knowing the system. And it's certainly a lot easier for me as an instructor to hire people in that system as well. It's been a game changer.
And Drew, I know that at your heart, and I see this in Ryan too, you guys just love helping individual students get better, and they love the golf swing. And you guys have both been on that level since I've known you. And so I think what's interesting is to see, like, you built the beginner like funnel, and we'll show a good slide on that in a sec, but you still manage to have time to teach your private lessons and your better players and set that up as well. Can you speak to that?
Sure. And on my calendar and CoachNow, everything's open from 10 to 4. I actually drop my kids off at school. I'm super proud of that as a golf instructor, that I can get there in the morning and drop them off. I'm a huge family man, and they're so important to me. CoachNow helps me manage that time actually quite well with my Google Calendar. We'll get into that later, I'm sure. But the ability to teach from 10 to 4 during the day, and then from 4:30 to 6:30 every night, I'm available for the Op36 plan. So that's how I schedule my days. And then I spend every Saturday with private lessons as well from 8 to 6. So that's my typical week. And then, of course, I might be there for a match or 2 on Sunday. So it adds up. But those employees I have now are helping me take a few Sundays off here and there. And that's been really special.
That's awesome. And when we looked and we were talking about how you structure your programs and the way you look at it, I've always been impressed with how you have that like macro picture framework in your head of like, hey, how do I make sure this segment of beginner adults has the right program? Then they progress to this program with me. You being able to have the time to do it, the structure to do it. I'm sure there's others that are on the call, especially if they're CoachNow users, going, how do I put this together, right? How do I put these pieces? So how would you explain it? And could you like kind of walk us through, this was the graph that you put together. And I know you had a presentation yesterday, right? In front of a bunch of golf pros. So walk us through your structure of your programs and how you see it at your club.
So the way I see it, there's different buckets, and I love this screen. This is perfect to explain it. Operation 36 is a huge part of my business. It's almost 45% of what I do. And it actually funnels into those camps and to my PGA Junior League. We certainly use the same juniors in that program, and it works well together. The private lessons, that's what I've done my whole life. It's been 18 years of that, and it's its own thing where you're trying to build your private lesson book. You're working on your Google reviews, you're marketing for your programs, trying to get people in the door. But these other programs are funnels to that. So Operation 36 has been this incredible lead generator where people are coming in as beginners. They want a structured beginner program. They get good enough to then want to be even better. So they continue down that road and they search for ways to get better. There's nothing better to get them into those private lessons, those elite groups. You could start to organize it around their level. Everybody wants a program that's designed for them. So having Op36 for beginners, then intermediates, then advanced, and then after that into their own private coaching thing that's exactly designed for them personally.
And when you look at it, you're the one who mentioned to me, you kind of look at it as a funnel, right? When you look at it from your business. And, I think it would be great to hear you speak to, I feel like a lot of folks, that when you think single off private lessons, if you're trying to go from that 1 hour, you really want to try to grow that base of people coming in and give them a clear path. But from a business perspective too, I'd love for you to speak to, how you look at the revenue that's generated as well to support you and your coaching business so you can support others. There's very few who have built a business where they can hire instructors, and you've done that. So yeah, if you could speak to this, as you said, I wanted to put this last slide up before we look at some of the CoachNow stuff. How do you look at like your business overall and how you build it and the strategy? If I was someone on the call and you were teaching me from the ground up how to build it, how would you do it?
So the first thing, and again, Op36 is incredible. You start off by growing your own program with your own expertise. You get it large enough, you're going to get around 36, 40, 50 people, and then you're able to train those employees on how that's done. And it's incredible that it's a structured system that you can explain to someone pretty quickly how to grow that. So I use PGM schools for that. I'm using interns all the time that are very passionate about teaching. You could actually use a PE instructor nearby that's very passionate about junior and development in younger athletes, and they can help you along the way. I know Ryan's done that in the past. So you develop those programs, you build them big, and then you hire these folks that can help you as an assistant for a while, and then eventually they can run it on their own. And then you go and you develop an intermediate group, and then after that's full, you develop an elite group. And then after these programs are doing very, very well, you can then drop into private lessons, which is what I really enjoy. I don't have to do that. That's one of my favorite things. I really enjoy working with somebody one-on-one. I feel like I can get more done that way. And so it's a perfect system where you can have somebody else do those group programs, which is what they need. They need somebody to train them, give them feedback. They need somebody there to make it fun and encourage people to stay in the game and to love the game and then to want to get better. I think that's the biggest part of it. If you're going to grow this business, you've got to grow a bunch of raving fans of the game. And if you have enough raving fans of the game, then you can teach them, and that motivation's already intrinsic in their heart by the time they're coming to work hard with you in a private lesson. I think that's huge in the growing of the business. And then of course you can market your success stories over time. I think that's been really helpful for me to have all these 5-star reviews, to be able to say, this has worked over time, and I can continue to build upon that year after year after year. And have this is something that my mentor Dan Rader would always say: you're trying to generate as many raving fans as you can, and they're going out there to spread the word. Once it gets big enough, ask people for reviews, ask people to tell others about how well the program's going. Those bring a friend days are incredible for Op36. That's the first thing I did that was super helpful. Have everybody in the program bring a friend that day, have them check out the program, have them have a great time, and talk to the new parents. And you can do that as many times as you need to until your program's full. That's some advice that I would do if you're trying to build an academy and a business. I did it this way. I know there's other people that do it from the other end, get a bunch of talented instructors and then use their private lessons to kind of build groups. But I did it the other way. I built the groups. They were too large for me to handle. I hired assistants that studied underneath me, and now they've got the hang of it. They can do it on their own. And then I branched into kind of new endeavors of growing my online business, which is a new endeavor I'm starting here. But it's amazing how good this is all starting to turn out.
Give us the economics of, I am a customer, so I know what I pay every month to you to have Piper engage in. But essentially, it's $30 a session, and you fill that with 6 students in Op36. That's what your rates are at, unless you're giving me a deal right now. So I think that's what it's at today.
Yeah, it's $180 a month, even for you, for friends as well. We do some referral things here and there, but in general, it's $180 a month. And with 6 in a class, I'll tell you how many classes we've got a week. We've got about 10 a week. And if you do the math on this, it really starts to add up the economics of it. If we can keep it as simple, let's say I had 10 classes, which there's probably a few more, but it's easy to do the math here. And let's say that there were 6 in every class, that would be 60 in the week. And then you would multiply 60 times 180, which I don't have the calculator with me. I guess I have it right here. That would be pretty high. And that's actually not exactly how many we have, right? So it would be 6 times 10 times 180, and that's 10,800 a month. But the funny thing is, we actually don't have 6 in each class. We probably have 12. So you can multiply that by 2, and before you know it, that's around 21,000 a month. And I hope I did the math right on that. But there's a pretty incredible scale and it adds up quick. And that 180 a month covers the 4 classes, and then it covers the 2 9-hole events as well. So it doesn't all go straight to me. It goes to the club, and we share with them. Management loves us because we're adding revenue to them as well. So I think that's a pretty good picture of how the revenue generates with Op36. And we do a little bit more than that, but I just wanted to keep it simple and basic for everybody.
Drew, can I jump in, Matt, on that? Just
go ahead, Alex.
Build on that. Do you, with any of the folks that maybe step out or advance out of that Op36, have you explored that kind of similar subscription or relationship where we're trying to kind of continue that recurring stream of income?
Yes, sir. I am trying to head that way. I am still in package-based systems because I've been doing it for so long, but boy, I want to go that way with all of my classes and all of my instruction. I definitely want to head towards where it's subscription modeling. Our club is doing all of the things in-house, so we're working on their payment models, which you guys are actually working with us right now to make it easier for the club to do that, which is really cool. And I want to do that. I think that's the wave of the future. Everybody wants to pay monthly. It's a service you're providing over time, and it sets the stage that I'm going to be with you every month. We're going to get through this throughout the year, and you're going to get better over time. I think it's an awesome model. I think I'm going to go that way with all of my coaching.
And Alex, I think what keeps people from doing that and coaches from doing that is they just don't have the tools to execute, right? And they don't have the tools, one, for the collaboration and the back and forth, which has been built, but it is kind of combining that with that subscription model to continue that, whether it's remote coaching where you're not, sitting on the lesson tee, or the other. And so I thought this would be a great transition. It was a great question on, all right, so, recurring in person to you're going to funnel out. You need that more private touch. You could go to CoachNow. Can you show CoachNow, Drew? Is it okay if Alex showcases or shows how they use CoachNow for those? And maybe Drew, you can just walk us through how your team's using it and how it would function.
Sure, that sounds good.
Yeah, this is always the most fun when we get the inside look here at somebody's account and they point us around. Obviously, we're going to look at this more you're going to look at it on the web, and I'm sure, Drew, you're doing most of your work in the mobile app, right?
I am. For building and programming, I come out for the facility calendar to look at what my other instructors are doing. So if you go into there, I use that a lot to see what they're up to. And it's cool that they're on the lesson tee right now, generating some revenue. I think that's awesome. Well, I'm in here doing a webinar. So,
guys, cool. You want to just point me around? So obviously, if you got your facility calendar, then you've got your calendar, right?
Yeah, I think it's really nice how the notifications ding me whenever a student has a lesson. So with all my instructors, that feed is awesome. And I turn my notifications on for every lesson, for every space. So it's popping up for me. I can see what Bo is up to. I can see what Matthew is up to. If you want to click on that feed, go for it. We'll take a look at what's going on. I just got done with a lesson with Forrest here. Forrest had a extremely weak grip. You can see the after in that image with the arrows. His grip got a lot stronger. He went from slicing it about 40 yards to the right with a 7-iron to some really strong full draws. He went from about 120 yards to about 145.
And this was the aim on this one. We just kind of went to a stronger grip here. Or this okay.
And if you kind of go down to the bottom, you'll see his beginning grip. It's probably in a video.
You probably have the face on there. We look at the beginning grip. Super weak.
This is the same lesson everybody teaches every week of their life, where somebody comes with a weak grip with an open face and you fix it, and all of a sudden, I don't have to worry about coming over the top anymore. It's amazing how good their path gets when their grip gets better. But these close-in videos and these reminders sent to them are going to be really helpful.
So then if we looked into Forrest's space, the key here being like we just continue to build on this, right? So it looks like Forrest just kind of started. He's got his first session. And when we come back, obviously Forrest can come in, work on this stuff, view it, watch those videos, get the feedback from you. But then also we just continue to build on that space, right?
That's right. And these video tools, there's a couple of videos in there. That one that I drew, I think there's one in there. No, I didn't do any voiceovers for him today, but I typically use that voiceover feature in the, I'm able to draw. Yeah, there's Marla had a good time. This guy's doing his online lesson. I did do this voiceover review for him. The hands got pretty steep.
Rob, if you want to get the club less laid off, you got to get the hands in more.
I don't know if y'all can hear that.
And feel
We
like
can.
Quick voiceover there.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
And then this guy was shaking it. These are all guys keeping track of their lessons in between. He used to be way over the top, and now I was able to use that overlay feature. So there's so many cool things in your drawing app there that I use quite often. And it's a good way to keep track of everybody over time. Like if Jonathan has a question about what we did a month ago, I can click in Jonathan's space and go look at what we did during a clinic not too long ago down the road. He's very active. Some folks dive in with the idea that they can send quick things. And this doesn't take much time. When they send me a notification, I'm able to go in there and remind them of what we're doing in about a minute. And that touch point for a customer is incredible. Just the ability for the coach to have eyes on me outside the lesson so I know that I'm staying on track is pretty important.
I love that you speak to that, because I can't tell you, like, in the beginning days of trying to get people to buy into this idea that you were actually going to stay connected with your students, it was like, well, I mean, what if they send me a bunch of videos? And we would always be like, that would be cool.
That would be incredible. Yes.
Right? You don't have to do, I think what I'll always say to this is you don't have to do a long review for every video that comes in. A lot of stuff just requires a fist bump, right?
That's right.
Like, hey, you're working on it. Great. You're engaged. We're connected, right? And that's really what we want. They feel good. They feel like my coach cares about me. That's what I want, right?
And Ryan, you've used CoachNow when you and I coached together in 2015. I feel like, I remember we were kind of leveraging it together and with your privates. Like, what are the favorite things? Do you still use it today? Don't you? I mean, this is what you've been a proponent of this forever. I'm just curious to get your thoughts on how you use it every day.
Yeah, there's two specific ones that might be helpful. Alex has helped us as a academy. We have multiple academies in North Carolina we run. We have one coach who's our teaching quality director, and he gets to go into each space, watch the lessons, give feedback to the coach on his lessons to see if he's working on what he should be working on. So that's one example that I think is helpful for those that are out there and managing your academy, managing your teaching quality. And then the second one is what you guys are showing right here, which is invaluable. If a kid's at a tournament, hey, you're not playing good, get a video for me, send it to me. I want to see what it looks like compared to your driving range swing. I want to see what it looks like compared to your swing from 6 months ago when you were playing well. Let's go back in the feed. Oh, wow, your takeaway was way inside compared to how you were swinging. Something simple, right? Takeaway was way inside compared to where it was 6 months ago when you were playing good. And then they buy into whatever it is you're talking about. But just having that database of swings, like Michael, we've got swings from when he was 6, 7, and 8 in there, and he's got pictures of him excited about hitting driver over 100 yards on TrackMan, and he goes back, his mom goes in and looks at him. I mean, it's a great database to have. And we use the calendar now too, which is fantastic. It's very simple to use with notifications to the player and the coach, and that eliminates no-shows. I can't stand having no-shows. Our staff can't stand having no-shows when you go out to the course and you get ready to teach and the person just sends you a note and says, hey, I can't make it. You set these notifications up in the right order. They're going to let you know 4 days in advance if they can't make it, which is great.
Yeah, that's excellent. Alex, can you just paint a picture of where, I know you have done a lot in a little time, you and Patrick, to bring a lot of new features to CoachNow. As us leading Op 36, we obviously we would love, and we're looking at it, right? We're already getting feedback from, say, Drew saying, hey, I have Piper, my daughter. How can they leverage these two together? I would say the instant thing is that Piper has her space with Drew, right? So you could see how an Op 36 student can just quickly go from their profile in Op 36 that's keeping track of their on-course data. It gamifies when they play in practice. Drew can see that. They have the tools to do the on-course events, the lesson plans. And then at some point when Piper begins getting those private lessons, she gets her own space, and I can see that integration. What else are y'all focused on right now, and what does the future look like for CoachNow for this year?
Yeah, I think we're uniquely positioned when we look at the scheduling. I'll just say anecdotally, probably a lot of you have been using the same or some scheduling tools for a long time, and things have maybe not changed too much, or the experience hasn't changed. There is a lot of work to do on kind of the scheduling side and the whole booking side, as far as making payments and billing easy and getting you reports and giving you a contact list, making it easy to know where people are at and know where people have booked things and so many things like that. That kind of stuff actually is coming, sooner. Then there's some integration things and some relationships like that will be done. There's obviously just a general reach position we're in with the just kind of the parent company and the other companies within the kind of relationship we have here. There's obviously an Op36 relationship as well that we could do maybe some lower level easy things just to make it better for the Op36 coach that's using Academy. And then there's maybe going a step further at some point.
I do know on our end, just one I'm comfortable sharing is that we are working on a calendar. Coming from where you guys are, we are working on a calendar with an Op36 that does have its own calendar. So that way you can bring that calendar into CoachNow and it will block off the different times. So your staff schedule is kind of connected. See, Drew loves it. And that's something we're working on our end. That'll be like our low level. And then there's the cool stuff, the vision stuff, but stuff that takes time and effort and energy on all fronts. And you guys have a lot on your plate at the moment. So I interrupted you. What were you going to continue on? Anything
A
else?
lot to do. So I just talked about scheduling and billing only, and then you can talk about video tools, right? And there's a lot of directions you can go with video tools. We just released this week multicam. So for anybody that wants to do sort of a simultaneous capture and they want to grab a tripod and set something. Oh, you can't see it. There it is. Set something up, and you want to set up some tripods, and you want to go up to multiple angles. You can now do that. It kind of expands that whole video analysis side of things, right? Where you can get a face on and down the line, maybe a rear view, and you can even use a remote control. So cool from that extent. And then there's, everybody I think right now is talking about AI. We're not, and we've always said this, we're not an AI company. That's not what we are, but we do have some AI stuff. So there's developments that could continue to happen there. And I think for me, I just would like to see us be able to manage subscriptions and those relationships with our students inside of CoachNow and have that kind of all automated. That would be like a long time vision of mine and a journey that we've been on, right?
100%. And I think by activating that, bringing it all together in one place, you really do. You can activate coaches to change their model in a way, as we talked about today. And that's where I wanted to come back to kind of Q&A, because you change the model to a point where you built a tool that we make it so simple that coaches will adopt it. And it's better for their business. It's better for them to grow their company. It keeps people and golf pros in golf because they can make a solid bit of revenue off of coaching in addition to other roles that they have. They don't have to be a full-time instructor like Drew. I always love hearing. I mean, Drew's very accomplished. I mean, how many hundreds of golfers are you coaching right now that are active, like in a private lesson program, an Op36, anything? How many do you think?
It's slightly over 200.
Slightly over 200. Yeah.
It's insane how many people, but thank goodness I have plenty of other staff that are able to help me. There was a new effect I learned about CEOs trying to remember enough names. I'm starting to have that effect where names are slipping, but I am trying because I've known them all for so long. But over 200 is incredible, and thank goodness I've got an awesome staff to support me at this stage.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So, I mean, just to recap, and again, I would love for folks to just start firing questions at Drew or us. Looking at, if you want to be a forever coach, you have to start putting in the programming and your structure early, and to be thoughtful in how you're going to market and set up your programs. If that's something you're looking on the beginner side, really the whole program, the technology, everything with Op36 is built to be a turnkey. Never stop chasing the goal of 36. It just keeps going. You keep enrolling people. Drew knows he's got me locked in for $180 a month for Piper for the rest of the year, and it's built into the budget. And And so that's kind of the beauty that you can get in beginner. And guess what? There's way more beginners out there that want to learn the game that way. And then you progress, and as Piper keeps going, she just beat level 3. She's in level 4. She's so excited to play level 4. It's going to start getting harder. She's going to need more help. And, we're going to be graduating to, hey, we need to show you what private training looks like. And actually, instead of just doing your group classes, if you really want to play competitively, we have to go to that next level. But you have that program in place. And I feel very blessed that you're right outside my neighborhood, because I think just every golf course should have programming that can take someone from zero to wherever they want to go. And I'm really fortunate that I'm here. And again, thanks, Drew, for being on. So let's go ahead. Patrick, do we have any questions that are coming through here on, and you can point them to anybody.
Yeah, we've got a couple. First one would be more towards Alex, asking about subscription fees for CoachNow, and I guess really the different levels of CoachNow, what the premium versions, CoachNow Pro versus CoachNow Academy.
So Pro is $4.99 a year for an individual coach, and then you can scale up with the number of coaches you need and how you want to collaborate. That's collaboration. So leave out the scheduling, the booking, the billing, right? But you get all the automation, all the video tools, everything you need to do to run that side of your business. Then if you go to Academy, that's $900 per coach. And then there's actually a facility price where you can get into 3 to 5 for $2,700. You would talk to your sales director on that, and there are some different ways to bring that price down a little bit, depending on your relationship with some other Golf Genius products. Be the same, I think, for the Op36 guys, right?
Yep. And if you have questions on these, the fastest, easiest way is to scan that code, and the folks who have the information on it, and they'll sit down and talk with you. They'll build out Op36 for you, show what that is. They'll look at CoachNow in your instance and figure out, they'll look at your club. There's just a lot of variables based on if you're set up through a facility or independent, and it's great to just get on a call and check it all out and see how it would fit your mold. I will say, I see the one on here, any Op36 on TrackMan. I wish right now we had a formal relationship. What I will say is there is a TrackMan lesson plan that's in Op36 for folks that are using TrackMan, that was put together by one of our ambassador coaches. And there's also ones that inside of TrackMan, there are courses that blend almost perfectly with Op36 yardages to do it indoors, if you're looking to do it indoors. But I am a huge believer in Op36 being able to work in an indoor facility and being able to work indoors and doing training like that. And hopefully we can get talks going with TrackMan again. It's just it takes effort on their end and on our end, and with limited resources to get it to come to life. We just got to find that right time and strike. But as I tell anyone, if anyone else has a voice to TrackMan that you wanted in there, always helpful for the team. We would love to work with them. Jeff Overholt says, Matt, you should be paying way more for Piper. You're getting a steal. I agree. That's why
we're going to change our rates next week.
Yep. As Ryan and I have talked about, Piper's just getting into the gymnastics train this year too, right? So we're figuring out, okay, it starts small, and then they're very good about Piper's leveling up. What are the next steps for Piper? And they come to us, and Ryan, you're on the other end of that, right? You're into the elite side of is it gymnastics or cheer for Addie?
Yeah, so she graduated to cheer, and you can spend some money in that.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, they golf to me now, going through travel baseball and now going through upper level cheer. I think golf is on the lower end of the spectrum of spending money on children, which when we started out, Matt, I think we had a hard time back in 2010, 2011, convincing parents that $150 an hour was enough, or what wasn't a lot. But now that we've been through it ourselves, it's like, holy smokes, like if you put your program like this, like Drew did, and you pay a coach well, like he pays his coaches very well, you can economies of scale make it such that Matt doesn't have to arm and a leg for his daughter to do this, which is also a nice service to the industry, I think.
I know, because I think what's wild is that 180 a month, as Jeff said, feels like a steal. We try to coach coaches on this that, you know, $30 a group session and $30 a 9-hole event there's a lot of folks that are hesitant to charge that. They've been doing drop-in clinics for $5 or $10 a clinic for their whole life, and they're fearful. And that's why I say you have to lean on a program and be able to show them this is a recurring long-term thing. It's a committed academy. It's where that's really what you get with Op36. You could like actually lean in and say that and lean on our brand to tell them that's what you're bringing in. And it goes a long way, versus just saying, hey, this is how we bill, it's monthly. If you just say this is how we bill, it's monthly, yeah, there's no value tied to it. You have to show them, right, all the things in the progression that they're going to go through. Patrick, we got any others coming through?
There's a couple that are, I think, individual type answers that we can answer off on the side.
Sure.
I mean, Erwin Warner is asking about, at a fully private facility.
Yeah,
We
the
have-
way
we-
that they
we
did
both-
it for us, that I know the answer. I saw it down there. Is you have a shareable link that's only shareable to your private membership. You don't share it outside the membership, and it's definitely clear that on their Op36 search link for us, it says that we're a private community. So that's how it works with us.
Yeah, and
except
on the
for Matt,
CoachNow
well, you made an exception. He's
And on the CoachNow side, right, you don't have to share any of your booking outside of your membership. You don't have to share it, really at all. So from a private versus public perspective, it's more that you kind of start in the private space. And then if you would like to make your booking and scheduling available externally away from just a membership or out, on a public website, you have the ability to do that. But you sort of start from that, private focused, members only experience.
Great. Anything else, Patrick?
There's a couple others in here. From a scale perspective, are you trying to get bigger than First Tee?
Yeah, we're actually good partners with First Tee, and they serve to be honest, so this year 50% of our participants in Op36 are adults, and out of the 50%, about 67% are ladies. So the fastest growing segment in Op36 is beginner ladies programs. We have, I believe, 6 or 7 First Tee locations that use us, and we work together. They start with the life skills curriculum and build their way up through. So we will, First Tee and the reach that they have to pull people into the game, and their mantra of, delivering life lessons through golf and giving them that path. It's really neat to see them working with us to say, look, after they go through kind of the basics of First Tee, this is another option to keep them in. So it's not a competition on our end, but we look at them as a massive partner in our, big mission to create as many golfers as possible. So it's a great question.
I think I just thought this was interesting, so I want to hear a quick answer if somebody has a quick one on the Brian's talking about 36-hole public resort that's heavy in riding only. Have you ever seen Operation 36 being offered in that way?
When you say riding only,
I think he's literally talking about they just ride carts. They don't walk, right? So it's carts only. I think it would work great, right? It'd be like a big horse race out there on the golf course.
Yeah, like 12 Oaks, for example, Drew, like I pay my $10 cart fee and you're able to use the carts at the facility, but the facility likes it. I'm still paying the fee. And I think for my daughter and my son, just because 12 Oaks is a tough walking course, right? If it was a little easier walking course, maybe we could get around, but it definitely it improves the level of experience for them as they're just getting started for a young group. But
yeah, we made it mandatory that everybody rides because of the pace of play issues. We play so fast at 25 yards. It's amazing. We play in about an hour and a half if we didn't have any regular play in front of us. So that's a big thing, a big sell on Op36 too, is like pace of play is a breeze. It's so much easier from their designated yardage.
No, that's great.
Hopefully that's what you meant by that, Brian. I think that is.
Yeah, if it isn't, let us know. But and what I would say too, I think a lot of coaches really fear getting people on the golf course. And we looked at it through our lens. We just actually launched the 9-hole event manager, like in a coaching platform. So there, we're totally dedicated to how, like, we're the first 9-hole event manager for coaches, right, to get people on the course. And it's neat. The product team did a great job. I RSVP right through the mobile app for Piper Engage. I had to say we're not coming, by the way, this weekend, Drew. I did put it in, not attending. So Drew sees that, can quickly create his pairings, ship that out. And as Drew said, you don't have to worry about pace of play because Ryan, I remember back to when we first were doing just carry yardage levels, right? The biggest, largest headache. I think if people want to know, get to the bottom of what really drove Ryan and I to think about 36, pace of play had a big thing to do with it, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any yardages, but we did have a max. I think we said 8 was the max, if I remember, and we had players shooting 72 for 9 holes.
72. Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. And they came off the course defeated. We were defeated because it was 3.5-hour journey to 4-hour journey to play 9 holes. And we took them off the course. We said, this doesn't work. Let's just go back to the driving range.
Yeah. Real quick, hold on one second. I'll be right back there. This is I saw this the other day, Ryan. These were the old booklets. And when it was before we came up with shoot 36 and back up, and the performance objective was beat 72 by 1 stroke. Was that we wanted them to play 9 holes, but they had to at least beat 72, which meant that they had 1 hole they didn't double par. So this was, we were trying to figure this out. This wasn't, it seems really simple, but I'll have to find it in there. But it's a tough one, but you don't have to worry about it. You'll have the tools to run it on the course. And we need to, as we learned, we didn't share the full story. We lost half of our golfers because they didn't play golf. That's why we came up with it. And if you don't get them playing golf, they won't fall in love with it. They're never going to fall out the other side of that funnel, right, Drew?
You got it. That new RSVP feature is outstanding. It's really changed the way it's saved a lot of time for me as we organize our events, and it's really simple for parents just to look on their app. You're all set. We were doing Google Forms, filling out who's coming, who's not coming, because we'd have a bunch of no-shows. But this is so easy to do now, and I really appreciate you guys putting that together.
Of course. Well, I see one last one up there. When did you say calendar will integrate with CoachNow? It'll be later this year. We started speccing. It doesn't look like it's a massive feature, so it'll be in this year. And the developer is going to work on it. Just released his stream yesterday. We got new web feed announcements out, so it will be happening soon, Carlo. We are past the hour. Just wanted to thank Alex, Drew, Ryan, Patrick. Thank you for being on. This was wonderful. I learned a lot, and it's always great to connect and just talk how we can find ways to get more people in and keep them, So, Alex, any final thoughts before we hop off?
No, thanks, you guys. It was fun.
Drew?
Awesome stuff. It was fun to.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot,
Awesome.
Drew.
Ryan?
Thank you guys. Drew, look forward to seeing you at the top 100.
That sounds good. I like that. Thank you, Ryan.